So I think today's the day I take my new square baler home. New to me, as they say. I took this thing off there. I wish I could take that flywheel off. It looks pretty heavy, but it also looks like it's probably stuck on there pretty good. And I'm repairing this tire. I just got another tire for it. I've already repaired this tire over here. Gotta put a new tire on that one, sort of new. And there's not a heck of a lot of weight on this tire, but this one over here has a lot of weight. I figure there's 1,000 pounds on this tire. Get back on and we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Just aired up the tires. Got the tire on, the new tire. Gonna hook it up. It's clouded up a little. It was bright sunny, now it's cloudy. Alright, I'm all hooked up. Check my lights. This is my Hollywood suspense moment. This is my idea of not clinging by your fingers to the top of a tall building, but that's Hollywood suspense. This is my idea of Hollywood. This is farmer suspense. That wheel's wobbling kind of bad, but it didn't seem loose. It must be just bent. I could do 40 on a smooth road. If it's bumpy though, I have to slow down. It gets bad. Because there's no suspension on this thing. My heart's pounding. Checking my load. Cold. This tire's cool too, but I don't know why it's wobbling like that. See nothing. Must be just. I'm doing 45. Here comes the guy behind me. But I'm thinking I'm just going to let him sit there. I could pull off, but I'm rolling. I think I'm just going to roll. Oh, there's a little bounce, man. If it's bumpy, I have to slow down. I thought I could turn in there, but I'd have to fool around quite a bit. Getting turned around. This guy's staying behind me pretty good. He has some sympathy for me, maybe. You gotta get extra gas to go up the hill. 2,000 RPM. I'll have to put it first to get up my hill. That's another thing, but so here I am. I only got a mile. So far, so good. I never say. There's one thing I'm not going to say right now. I'll tell you what it is after it's over. .45. Made it. Just had a few guys behind me. They stayed back a respectful distance. 2 pickup trucks and 2 pickup trucks. So you're home. He's home. Now I got a whole new set of problems to deal with. We're home. Now I'm going to put it low, as low as it'll go. Let's see if we can make it up this hill. Let's take the brake off. That's right, 2,000 RPM. Don't go off the road. This road's a little narrower. Now we're going slower though. Keep it up. Oh, the tranny's just really going. I don't like this shit. Tranny doesn't like it. But we're gonna make it, I think. Now when I get to the top, what am I gonna do with it? I guess I'll put it over here. No, I'm not supposed to let any rain get on it. Oh, the one thing I don't want to say, looks like we're going to make it. I said that once, and that was the wrong thing to say. So you're home, your new home, and the guy told me you're not supposed to get rained on. I think this is why right here. Brother. Boy, it's chilly. I got a lot of hay to make if all goes well. All kinds of hay. Not too bad. Not too bad of hay, really. Hell, I don't even see any weeds except Johnson grass. I didn't, but I think what I have to do now, well, I was going to check the weather. The guy says don't let it get rained on, which I don't know. I don't think this thing's been rained on too much. But this would all that grease would be washed off, but I need to put it somewhere where I can. It's supposed to start raining. And so I need to put it somewhere. I gotta get all this old hay out of here, that's one thing for sure. And then probably WD-40, clean those up. And grease everything for sure, and have to redo the string, put new string in, figure out how that works, which I don't know at this point, except this thing here pokes it up through. See the string in there? I guess it would well anyway, I can find it online. Boy, it looks like grease, but it's not grease. I'm not sure what that is. Might be grease. All these chains need to be. That's funny. I wonder what that's for. I'm starting to work on this New Holland 273 square baler, and overall, it seems okay. It's been neglected. I've been looking and looking. I'm not sure what. I guess I'll just end up putting oil from an oil can, regular motor oil in there. Can't find any recommendation on it. I drained this out. It's thick. It was thick like goop, like a and then I'm hitting the zerks. Some of the zerks are frozen. I've been able to get them loose, but this one no. And I tried to take this out. It won't come out for the knotter. I've got it to where I can wiggle it, but the grease won't come through. The brake over here was locked up. It wouldn't move. And so I loosened this up. Now it's free to move. This was one of the ones that, where's that piece? Right there. This was locked up. There's a hole. All I had to do was poke the hole. There's a piece of crud grease in there. One thing I would say, and I can't figure out what makes, when this clicks down to here, what's up there, then this should engage somehow and spin. And it's not spinning. I'm not sure if there's a shear pin inside here. I think this here's the clutch. I haven't figured this out, and I've got a owner's manual, but it doesn't say anything about it. So I haven't figured that out yet. But one thing I would say is I wouldn't fire this thing up, and I'll probably have to replace a lot of these. These are all, they'll probably run for a while. But one thing I would say is, don't fire this thing up and see what doesn't work, because stuff will bust. And you know, people generally neglect their machinery before they sell it. Okay, now it's turning. This wheel, which I suspected before, this wheel hits this cog here when this drops into that thing, and then it spins it. But I guess what was happening before, that brake was locked up, and I don't know what it was doing. Riding over that cog, I guess. I don't know. But anyway, so I removed the bolts that hold this in position. Oh, that one's stuck in the wrong. That's odd. Boy, that bar looks bent. That bar looks really bent. I don't remember noticing that bar being bent like that before. And this doesn't want to. So anyway, something's stuck, so I got to go back and figure out what it is. So I'm doing this, getting it loosened up, greasing it and WD-40 in it, getting those gears loosened up. This one I think is loose, but it's hooked up to a spring. I think is what the problem is. This one doesn't have a spring on it. This Zerk here, the Zerk's okay, but it won't pump through. So there's probably dried grease in the hole. There's just a hole that leads to the axle thing. I tried to get it out, but there must be a ridge where it's not worn. It won't come out. So I'm going to try and take that Zerk out and dig out that hole. And I've got some, I'm going to spray, I've got some brake cleaner too, and also carburetor cleaner. You know, this pin is, there's this hole. This hole's for the cotter key. This hole's for the grease to come out. Pump it in that Zerk and it comes out there. So I got this thing cleaned out and ready to accept grease. I gotta use my right hand so I can give it some more and see it coming out. So that was really the way to do it. Rather than try and take that off, I dug it out with this little screwdriver. Dug out the hard stuff. And then I sprayed this brake clean in there to get rid of the little particles that was left. And now I'm going to take this gallon of, I'm not going to use the whole gallon, but I've had this WD-40 for 20 probably. I'm going to pour some in a bowl and paint this whole thing, this whole mechanism with WD-40, and maybe the chains too. And for this, it'll drip down onto that hay, and then I'll burn that hay. When I go to make my first bale, it'll just push out. I've seen one guy where he cleaned it all out, but it doesn't seem necessary. I don't know if this is supposed to be loose. When I bought it, this bolt was loose. I don't know if that's supposed to be loose. It doesn't seem like it would be. And I don't know what this thing does down here. There's something here that happens every time that fork goes up. It might be a block for the ram, so the ram doesn't hit the needles. Nobody's talked about that. I don't know what this hole is for. It doesn't look like it's been used for a while. There was one other thing. All these clutches have been totally clamped down. I'm going to loosen them up. And there's another thing similar to this too, but at any rate. These so-called needles come flying up through there, and it looks really close right there. So I'm thinking is tighten it up, put some washers in there, push it over this way a little bit. And this one seems okay. If anything, it would want to go, they both need to go towards the center. I'm not sure. They've sort of got a angle to where they'll find the right place, but if it hits that metal after a while, it'll ruin it. I've been working on the square baler and getting everything greased and adjusted, seeing if there's any parts that are about half the parts need to be replaced. Well, not about half. Some of them need to be replaced, but you know, I'm trying to get it running. I'm getting it running with the parts as they are. And actually the parts that needs to be replaced is primarily, anyway, it doesn't matter. So I've been feeding it, sitting here, I'm not dragging it. I just left it, been living here, been adjusting this knotter. The critical thing is really the knotter, or the most sophisticated thing or something, because otherwise there's just a big ram that smashes the hay. If it was on, you could see it goes back and forth here and gets smashed in. But then this knotter ties a knot, so here's the knot. On both sides there's a knot. When it gets out, that hay will expand and tighten. And here, this side, one side didn't tie the knot in this bale, and I tied it myself. See, that's how we normally tie a knot, so it's a little different. The knot this thing ties is a little different. But it takes both. What it does, this discs here hold it. It holds it, and you make the bale and it pushes back. It's going around and it comes up. There's so-called needles that are in here. Under here, see? Uh-oh. Oh no, that's all right. So it's threaded through those needles, see? So they'll come up when this trips. It all happens real fast, except I've just been doing it by hand. So those needles come up, and then both the twines will be up here in this area. Then this pushes it over, so they're both laying against that shiny thing. That shiny thing right there. And then they'll both get wrapped around that shiny thing, and then there's a kind of a little hook right there. That hook will open up, and it'll pull both of them through the loop. So that's why the knot looks like that. There's a real good video on the internet of a new machine with an engineer describing every part, because there's a bunch of moving parts. They all have to, work together to make the knot. And so I don't know that I need to really show that. I might show, because I just rotate this thing by hand. Right here, this big flywheel. And then I trip it, then I rotate that flywheel, and then watch it as it comes up real slow. Make sure nothing's going to crash into each other. But right at this point, I think I'll just feed it a little bit in. And because I'd have to make a whole new bale, and it's Thanksgiving. I got to get ready to go and eat turkey and stuff, and it's going to rain, so I got to get everything covered up. So I think I'm just going to feed a little hay, and then maybe later, although it'll be the same video, but it'll be later for me that I'll actually show how it makes the knot a little bit, or how I've been doing it. Because I've yet to do it while the tractor's running, because And I've got it, incidentally, when I start it up, it's not going to be at normal speed. It's going to be as low speed as it'll go. I have to wear this gas mask when I do the hay. So but I can start it now, and I have to set this block on here so it thinks I'm on here, or else it won't start. That's a new tractor. So I'll start. This is how you start the PTO on this tractor. Push this button, select it. So I just been feeding it. I'm not worried about that. I'll just try and set this camera somewhere. I'm going to let the square baler tie at full speed, which isn't necessarily important, except it's a moment for me. I've been tying it at low speed, twisting the flywheel, and now I'm going to feed it and just let it tie when it wants to tie. Let's see if it made a knot. It tied. It went through the motions. Now let's see if it made a knot. There's one knot, there's two knots. It's not a great knot. It's kind of loose. This one's better. I'll have to look up what makes a loose knot. This one's a little loose, but it's kind of a knot. It's still holding. It's holding. So that's good. That's good. They had this thing tightened down as much as it would go. I've been loosening it. But you can see how tight that is right there. That's what determines how much it packs the bale, these things. Everything was tightened as much as it would go. These clutches, that was tightened. That was tightened. I loosened them all up. It's possible they're locked up or rusted shut. I'm supposed to test and find out if they are. It's a little late for baling hay, but I have goats. So you're not supposed to bale hay. This is a fresh piece of grass. But I was kind of thinking if it's cold, if it stays cold and I feed it relatively soon, it'll probably be alright. Otherwise I have to buy. Otherwise I'm going to have to buy hay. Well, I'll probably have to buy hay anyway, but looks like I got my square baler going for the most part. Not supposed to talk that way. It still needs a lot of parts to